Ghislaine Maxwell is set to make an appearance outside of her New York jail cell today after a 15-month wait for the start of a trial for alleged sex trafficking of children, perjury, and enticement of minors while she was a close associate of the disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein. Maxwell has been in solitary confinement at a Brooklyn detention center since shortly after her arrest in July 2020. Over the weekend, she gave a tell-all interview from her prison cell. Maxwell claims that she has been assaulted by prison guards, purposely deprived of sleep, and given rotten food to eat, saying, quote, "I have been assaulted and abused for almost a year and a half."
She also said that her dryer is too loud. That was literally something that she told the Daily Mail. Now, Maxwell, who faces life in prison if convicted, also had some more unorthodox complaints, like the one about the dryer, which she nicknamed the space shuttle. In another excerpt from her interview, Maxwell tells the Daily Mail that she's playing peekaboo with the guards and that, quote, mysterious events compelled her to make up a fake cellmate. Her most serious complaint remains that she was not given time to prepare for the 6-week trial. Okay, so there's a lot of things that may seem trivial, like Ghislaine complaining about the volume of her dryer in this. There is that serious complaint that she said she wasn't given time to prepare for the 6-week trial. What's strange to me is that she seems to be out of her mind, which is understandable if you've been in solitary for a year and a half. And this is all going to play out in the courtroom, where some very, very serious charges are being litigated, where people are going to be probing for insights into this long, essentially sex trafficking ring. Kim, what do you make of how this interview is setting up the trial itself?
Well, first of all, it wasn't too much of a tell-all, right? We were waiting for some names. We want names. And Ghislaine Maxwell is not dropping any names. People are going to be watching this trial, by the way, wondering if she is going to drop names. And no, the answer is no, she's not going to drop a single name. If she was going to give a name, she would have done it already in order to strike a deal. So the fact that there are no names, she's not dropping names, I don't think we can expect anything out of this. But secondly, of course, she's setting herself up to sound nuts, because she wants to get away with everything. So she's wanting a lesser sentence. She's wanting the judge and the jury to go easy on her. So at this point, her only card to play, because she's being the good soldier that she is, taking this all the way to the end without implicating anyone at all. The only thing she could do now is just say, well, now I'm crazy and the conditions are inhumane, so you can't keep me in there for too long.
Yeah, I think that's true. And there's one thing that Epstein and Maxwell are not, and that is stupid. And she is not a dumb person, and this is strategic, absolutely.
So the virtue of the strategy, though, is that it's also true. So Martin Gottesfeld, who's serving time right now, is a hacker, a hacktivist who wrote for The Intercept about his time in this facility, and it is a decrepit, deplorable, rat-infested nightmare. He actually served there while El Chapo was serving there. And if you layer on top of that isolation, which, according to the United Nations, is torture, that's a human rights abuse, to be in solitary for 15 months in this rat-infested place would probably drive anybody insane. If you map it up against her previous life of this extraordinarily privileged socialite background.
She says socialite is derogatory and sexist, by the way. So.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Whatever she is then.
Yes.
From that to this. Mm-hmm. Now, nobody, of course, has sympathy for child sex traffickers. But the point is that even the absolute worst of the worst, deserve basic constitutional rights if you have a civilized society.
No, I agree with that, and I think it makes the trial more powerful and effective if that has been the case, because you don't give her this opportunity to latch on to the conditions and say that they've driven her crazy, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, but what they're going to do is then they could say, well, then everybody who's locked up in this jail could claim being crazy. I mean, it sounds like it would be more of like a class action lawsuit at the end of the day than reason to go soft on her or say, well, I guess this drove you crazy, so now you're nuts. It sounds like, what they might do is say, listen, you'll get convicted and you'll go to a cushy prison. How about that? We'll get you out of this jail. We'll send you to prison.
Except they'll probably
that'll be that.
They'll probably send her to some maximum security prison, given the way that the Epstein situation ended, and given the public attitude towards Maxwell, maybe maximum security is a stretch, but I wouldn't rule it out.
No, I'm sure that's exactly where she's headed.
Yeah, and this is, I mean, everyone's obviously waiting for this because Epstein isn't going to go on trial. Her being on trial is really also going to be Epstein on trial. But actually, her being on trial is extremely important because there's a lot of, particularly surrounding her father, there's a lot of information that we don't have and that we don't know. And there's a lot of reason to be particularly suspicious of her motivations and her involvement in absolutely everything. So this trial is just crucial and cannot emphasize that enough, and it is imminent, coming right up. Jury selection is actually tomorrow, so we will, of course, continue following this very, very closely. We will be back with more Rising right after this.